Good day everyone, especially to the viewers of this video presentation. So in this video presentation, we're going to talk or discuss about the DNR or Department of Environment and Natural Resources and some of the function included of these agencies like environmental conservation, natural resources, pollution control, land management, climate change mitigation, environmental education, regulatory oversight. So that's the function of DENR that we are going to discuss later. But first, let's talk about the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. So, Department of Environment and Natural Resources is the executive department of the Philippine government responsible for the conservation, management, development, and proper use of the country environment and natural resources, especially forests and grazing lands mineral resources, including those in reservation and watershed areas and lands of the public domain, as well as the licensing and regulation of the natural resources as may be provided for by law in order to ensure equitable sharing of the benefits derived therefrom for the welfare of the present and future generations of Filipinos. So its primary purpose is to formulate and implement policies that ensure the sustainable use and protection of the environment and its diverse ecosystems. So the DNR is typically addresses issues such as pollution control, as what I've said, biodiversity conservation, land management, climate change mitigation, and environmental education. By regulating and overseeing activities related to the environment and natural resources, the department aims to balance the needs of human development with the preservation of the planet's ecological integrity. And the Department of Environment and Natural Resources was first established on January 1, 1916 as the Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources, but through the enacted of Act 2666 by the Philippine Commission, otherwise known as an act to reorganize the executive department of the government of the Philippines. But the time goes by, it was finally reorganized into the Department of Environment and Natural Resources by the Executive Order of number 192 on June 10, 1987. So now let's talk about the first function of the DENR. It is the environment conservation. So the main strategy for protecting and conserving biodiversity in the Philippines is the establishment of an integrated protect areas systems. So the EPAS was set up to protect and preserve a representative sample of all ecosystems and habitat types in the countries, as well as their plants and animal species. So environmental conservation is responsible and management of natural resources to preserve, protect, and sustain the healthy of ecosystems. So it involves efforts to prevent the depletion, degradation, or destruction of the environment and its biodiversity. So environmental conservation aims to strike a balance between human activity and the preservation of ecosystems, promoting sustainable practices to ensure the well-being of present and future generations. So I can give you one example of environmental conservation. An example of this is reduce, reuse, and recycle. Cut down on what you throw away. So follow the 3 Rs to conserve natural resources or landfill space. So there are Republic Act 6999, the toxic substances and hazardous waste management. So this act mandates control and manage of import, manufacture, process, distribution, use, transport, treatment, and disposal of toxic substances and hazardous nuclear wastes in the country. So that's the environmental conservation.
Natural resource management. Natural resources management deals with managing the way in which people and natural landscapes interact. It brings together natural heritage management, land using planning, water management, biodiversity conservation, and the future sustainability of industries like agriculture, mining, tourism, fisheries, and forestry. So natural resources management recognizes that people and their livelihoods rely on the health and productivity of our landscapes, and their actions as stewards of the land play a critical role in maintaining this health and productivity. Natural resource management especially focuses on a scientific and technical understanding of resources and ecology and the life supporting capacity of those resources. In Republic Act Number 7942, an act instituting a new system of mineral resources exploration, development, utilization, and conservation. So in this Republic Act Number 7942, also known as the Philippine Mining Act of 1995, establishes a comprehensive framework of exploration, development, utilization, and conservation of mineral resources in the Philippines. The key provisions of this act include defining the rights and responsibilities of mining contractors, promoting sustainable mining practices, ensuring equitable sharing of benefits between the government and mining contractors, and establishing environmental protection measures to mitigate the impact of mining activities.
Pollution control. There is a general agreement that we must control pollution of our water and land, but there is considerable disappointment over how controls should be designed and how much control is enough. The pollution controls mechanisms adopted in the United States have tended toward detailed regulation of technology, leaving polluters little choice in how to achieve the environmental goals. This command and control strategy needless resources and the cost of the pollution controls and might even slow of progress toward a cleaner environment. In 1970, popular concern about environmental degradation blossomed into a major political force, resulting in President Richard Nixon's creation of the Federal Environmental Protection Agency (APA) and the first of the major federal attempts to recruit Pollution Dirty and Clean Air Act amendments of 1970. Pollution control is the limitation or eradicate of the release of harmful substances into the environment. The removal of the dangerous substance can be considered pollutant control as the real pollutant control only tackles fluency and emotion realized by the human activity rather than emotion from the natural sources.
Land management. Land management is the process of managing the use and development of land resources in both urban and rural settings, but it is mostly managed in urban places. It is important for achieving various environmental, social, and economic goals. By adapting sustainable land practices, we can improve the health of our ecosystem, enhance our food security, and improve the livelihood of rural communities while reducing environmental degradation. Sustainable land management practices such as conservation, tillage, cover cropping, and crop rotation um, These three practices can improve soil health by reducing erosion, increasing organic matter, and enhancing soil structure. These practices increase soil fertility, improve water infiltration, and reduce soil degradation. Land management was organized on September 2, 1901 under Act 218 as the Soil of Bureau of Public Lands (IBPL), which is supervising the survey and distribution of public lands in the Philippine Island.
Climate change mitigation. Climate change mitigation refers to efforts and strategies aimed at reducing or preventing the emission of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, with the goal of minimizing the long-term effects of climate change. This involves actions such as transitioning to renewable energy sources, improving energy efficiency, reforestation, and implementing sustainable practices across various sectors to decrease overall carbon emissions. Climate change mitigation key components. Renewable energy sources. Transitioning from fossil fuels to renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and hydropower to reduce carbon emissions. Energy efficiency. Implementing technologies and practices to improve energy efficiency in various sectors such as transportation, buildings, and industry. Afforestation and reforestation. Planting trees and restoring forests to absorb CO2 from the atmosphere and enhance carbon sequestration. Carbon capture and storage, or CCS. Capturing carbon dioxide emissions from industrial process and power plants and storing them underground to prevent their release into the atmosphere. Sustainable agriculture. Adapting practices that reduce emission from agriculture such as precision farming, organic farming, and agroforestry. Waste management. Implementing strategies to reduce, reuse, and recycle waste as well as capturing and utilizing methane emissions from landfills. Transportation solutions. Promoting public transportation, electric vehicles, and sustainable urban planning to reduce emissions from the transportation sector. Policy and regulation. Enacting and enforcing regulations and policies that incentivize and mandate emission reduction across various sectors. International cooperation, collaborating on a global scale to address climate change throughout agreements like Paris Agreement and sharing knowledge, technologies, and resources. Education and awareness, increasing public awareness and understanding of climate change issues to encourage sustainable practices and lifestyle. In Republic Act number 9729 of 2009, an act mainstreaming climate change into government policy formulations, establishing the framework, strategy, and program on climate change, creating for this purpose the Climate Change Commission and for other purposes. Climate change mitigation encompasses a holistic approach involving technological, policy, and behavioral changes to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and limit the extent of climate change. It is a crucial component of the broader effort to create a more sustainable and resilient planet.
What is environmental education? Environmental education is a process that allows individuals to explore environmental issues, engage in the problem solving, and take action to improve the environment. As a result, individuals develop a deeper understanding of environmental issues and have the skills to make informed and responsible decisions. So, learning about environmental education, it helps us understand our surroundings and how our action affect the planet. Why is it environmental education is important because it as a crucial of teach us the importance of conservation. It helps us learn about the renewable resource and role we play in preserving them. The components of environmental education are the following: awareness and sensitivity to the environment and environmental challenges, knowledge and understand of the environment and environmental challenges, attitude of concern of the environment and motivation to improve or maintain environmental quality, skills to identify and help resolve environmental challenges, participate the activities that lead to the solution of environmental challenges. Environmental education does not advocate a particular viewpoint of course or action. Rather, environmental education teaches individuals how to weigh various sides of the issue through critical think, and it has enhanced their problem solve and decision making skills. So, meaning to say that environmental education is essential in today's world because it has only keeps individual with the knowledge and skills to address environmental challenges. About also promotes a sense of social responsibility and commitment to sustainability. As we far is increasingly complex environmental issues, the poor the importance of environmental education cannot be overstated. Moreover, environmental education skills a sense of social responsibility. It emphasizes the role each individual plays in preserves the environmental, encouraging active participation in environmental conversation.
Regulatory oversight is to ensure that activities and operations within its jurisdictions are carried out in a manner that protects the environment, conserves natural resources, and promotes public health and safety. This oversight includes that the development and enforcement of regulatory policies and standards, the issuance of permits and licenses, the monitoring of compliance, and the investigation and resolution of environmental violations. The DNR also provides education and outreach to promote responsible resource management and conservation practices. In Republic Act or RA number 10667, otherwise known as the Philippine Competition Act, establishes a regulatory framework for competition law enforcement in the Philippines. The Act aims to promote and protect competition in all markets and industries, prevent anti-competitive practices, and ensure consumer welfare. The Philippine Competition Commission, or PCC, is the primary agency responsible for implementing and enforcing the provisions of the Act. The PCC has the power to investigate and prosecute anti-competitive practices, impose penalties, and issue cease and desist orders. The Act also provides for the establishment of Competition Policy Council to advise the President on competition policy matters and promote competition awareness among stakeholders. Overall, RA number 10667 is a significant step towards strengthening regulatory oversight in the Philippines and promoting a more competitive and dynamic economy. Regulatory oversight is an essential function of government agencies responsible for regulating industries, products, and services. It involves several steps. Number 1. Rulemaking. Regulatory bodies develop rules and policies that govern industries' practices, product safety, environmental protection, and other areas and concern. These rules are based on scientific evidence, legal principle, and public input. Number 2. Compliance monitoring. Regulatory agencies monitor compliance with established rules through inspections, audits, and other forms of surveillance. This helps identify potential violations and assess the effectiveness of regulatory programs. Number 3, collaboration. Regulatory agencies collaborate with stakeholders including industry representatives, consumers groups, and other regulatory bodies to develop effective regulatory programs that balance competing interests while protecting public health, safety, and the environment.